Love and God, love and divine essence are exactly the same, and they are unconditional. You have to have the same love for God or for this divine essence that it has always had for you. Through the worst of your days, through the lowest points in your life, this love has always been there. It's available to you. You could take it at any time. You're never turned away. And it's a supply that's inexhaustible. You can't exhaust it. You can't make it go away. It is there. So, there is a power in unconditional love that is very difficult for most of us to grasp. I don't know if you've ever been around a being who lives and experiences unconditional love. But when you are, you discover that the energy that they radiate is infectious. Like being in a room with Mother Teresa. Just being in her presence. They said of Jesus, they said of Buddha, that when they would go into a village, just their presence in the village, nothing more, just their presence in the village would change the consciousness of those around them. From the perspective of having this divinity within you, which is a love for what is going to manifest, what happens when you start picturing your world this way is that your life starts to change. What changes is you feel more peaceful. Love and peace, unconditional love and peace, really go hand in hand. And when you get this quality, and what I suggest to you here is that in order to practice this, to understand that you sleep better, you eat better, you automatically begin to take better care of your body. Toxins are no longer that important to you. Exercise becomes something that you just absolutely do because you're treating your body with unconditional love. And it demands that, it encourages that, it wants that. It doesn't want to be dreary, it doesn't want to be overweight, it doesn't want to be drugged up, it doesn't want to be lethargic. It wants to be flowing. Because the universal energy that makes the whole thing work flows. It doesn't stop. That energy isn't stopping. It's not stagnant. It's a flowing. When you start doing these things and these changes start taking place, what happens is also the prosperity that you thought you couldn't have also begins to flow. You've stopped all blockages. And while this just sounds like, oh yeah, but I don't have to do anything, you will do something. You will act upon this unconditional love. It's like go on a program for 3 days. Make a 3-day program in which you are going to communicate with your spouse, your lover, one of your children, a friend, a co-worker, a boss, someone that you are close to. And every thought that you are going to have directed at that person is going to be one of unconditional love. No matter how crappy they may act, no matter how much complaining they may do, no matter how much you find them to be irritating or whatever, you are going to respond with unconditional love. Not gushy, oh, isn't that great, you're throwing up on me again. Not that at all. But just the thought, the absence of judgment, the absence of anger, the absence of the ego demand that says, you know, you should really be like I am. You're wrong and I'm right. You just let go of that. Try it for 3 days. A 3-day program of unconditional love. And watch what happens to your energy level. And watch what happens to the things that you want to manifest in your life. And begin to notice how you're sleeping and what the content of your dreams are. And notice how other people begin to treat you. You see, unconditional love is joy and it's also power. There's an enormous power, but it's not the power that is an investment in having power over others. It's a power of being able to tune in finally to the thing that makes the whole universe work. What do you think keeps this whole planet from falling off into an abyss? What do you think it is that keeps your shoulder from falling off? What do you think it is that keeps the cells of your eyeballs in their sockets? There's a force, there's an energy, there's something that is working that keeps everything in place, that makes it all work, that makes it all flow. You finally begin to tune into that. You start to trust your nature more than you trust your intellect, which is your ego. Your nature knows how to work. It knows how to make your body work. Your nature knows exactly how many nutrients to send to all the different organs of the body. You don't have to think about that every time you eat something. It's working. Your nature knows how much oxygen to take in and how much to let out. You don't need a formula for that. Your intellect says that water there, it can't possibly be made up of 2 parts of hydrogen and 1 part of oxygen. Those are gases. Your intellect says there's no way. But nevertheless it is, isn't it, as we examine it. So your nature works perfectly in perfect harmony, as does everything else that keeps the oceans from tilting on their side and having tidal waves. This nature of yours that you are in, that is in you, that you are not separate from, is flowing. It's perfect. It's unconditional. It doesn't judge. It doesn't ask anything. Be that, and the rest of this will fall right into place. It's astounding how powerful this unconditional love is.
Now imagine this, that if a thought of shame, or a thought of fear, or a thought of guilt creates a muscle reaction in which you can't move your arm, imagine what it's doing to your heart, which is a strong muscle, isn't it? If you go around all day with thoughts of shame and guilt and fear and worry, what's happening to your heart? You are weakening your heart. You are literally sending energy that is disempowering you. Whereas if you're thinking thoughts of love and connection and spirit and God, you are strengthening your heart. Imagine your kidneys. Imagine your liver. Imagine the joints in your body. Imagine your eyes. Imagine every single aspect of this thing called your body, and understand that every single thought that you have impacts it in a way that either makes it empowered or disempowered. And so too are all of the substances that we put into our bodies. You take a bottle of scotch and you put it up next to your solar plexus, and you push it into your solar plexus, and you will not hold your arm up even with one finger, because scotch, pure alcohol whiskey, no dog, if you pour scotch on his dog food, will ever have anything to do with it. They'll look at it and you must be kidding me. And by the way, that's the same reaction you had the first time you tasted it. Woo! What is this? And you spit it out like it's what? It's poison, isn't it? And every time we have one, we send a signal to the rest of our body that it is going to be weakened. Okay, if everything is energy, and if every thought that we have impacts or empowers us in some way, I've always said that if you understand that what you think about is what expands into the physical world, then after a while, you'll start getting real careful about what you think about. Real careful about what you think about. And when you start having these thoughts, when you change your thought, when you shift your thought from one of anguish, self-pity, depression, worry, fear, and particularly shame, when you shift that thought in the instant, and when people say, yeah, but how do I do it? I don't know how you do it. You just do it. If I say to you right now, I want you to think of a very unhappy thought. I'd like you to picture a dog that has just been hit by the side of the road, and it's a German Shepherd, and it's brown and black, and it's got blood trickling out of its mouth, and it's lying there on the side of the road. Is there anyone that can't do that? You can see that picture, can't you? Okay, that's a very disempowering picture. So let's change it. Change it and shift it to a bouquet of roses, red roses with that white baby breath or whatever they call it in back of it, and the greens coming behind it, and 12 beautiful long stem roses, each of them going out in a little bit of a different direction. And is there anyone who can't do that? All right, how did you do that? You tell me. You just did it. You just did it. You just do it. And no one can explain how. No one can explain the mechanics behind it. Even the greatest neurosurgeon in the world can't explain the mechanics behind. You just change your thoughts. You train yourself to think in a different way when confronted with and knowing that your thoughts are on anything that is going to disempower you. Or surely the presence of love will correct my perception that I have a problem. You just change it. And of course, you also change what you put into your body. You decontaminate your energy fields. You don't allow yourself to consume foods, substances. And if you want to know whether a substance works or doesn't work for you, even if you want to check your vitamins, or if you want to check anything that you might be taking, just have someone stand in front of you, put your arm out with no watch on it, because a quartz movement will interfere with this. It has energy of its own. And ask them to put their one hand on your right shoulder, and their other hand with two fingers, the forefinger and the next finger, and just have them to push down until you resist as strong as you can. And then with your right hand, take your vitamins, or take your food, or take your liquor, or take your cocaine, or take whatever it is that you might find yourself addicted to or practicing, and push it into your solar plexus, and then ask that person to push down on your arm. And if your arm goes down with very little resistance, it's disempowering. And if it stays up, it's empowering. Hawkins did a study with 1,000 people, and he put 500 envelopes of aspartame and 500 envelopes of pure vitamin C, and 100% of the time, every single person in the audience, when they paired up, the aspartame computed weak and the vitamin C computed strong. And yet we fill ourselves with this stuff.
Transform, going beyond your form. Listen to each thought, let it sink in, and begin putting it into practice, beginning now. Number 1, know in your heart that there is an invisible intelligence in everything, and you have the power to make contact with this divine intelligence and create a life of bliss. There is something divine that rolls through all things. You can't get a hold of it? A little seedling has treeness in it when it is put into the ground. You can't see treeness, you can't see the tree, yet you know it is in there. And same with you. You have greatness, you have an energy that is so powerful, and it flows through you and in everything that you come into contact with. Know it, begin to trust it, and you'll find yourself experiencing transformation in your life. Number 2, this is your sacred quest. The doorway to higher levels of awareness in your life opens inward. And most of us spend our lives facing the wrong way, looking outside of ourselves for the solutions to our problems. Where inward, in that silent, quiet, empty space within, is where the universal intelligence lies. It is where your essence as a human being is. Begin to look inward rather than outward each day. Number 3, become aware that there are no accidents in our intelligent universe. Realize that everything that shows up in your life has something to teach you. Appreciate everyone and everything in your life. You need to begin looking inward at who you are and why you are here, instead of outward at the physical world or anything in it. Make this a day of appreciation, a day of being in awe and bewilderment of everything that you come into contact with. Appreciate your liver, appreciate your eyes, appreciate your legs, appreciate your mind, and everything that you come into contact with. Instead of judging it, just appreciate it. Number 4, draw your inner energy from the beauty that surrounds you. When you do so, this energy reception will become a source of strength and sustenance in your life. As you begin practicing beauty appreciation, and seeing it in all things that you encounter, including all people. As you begin to see the fullness of God in everyone rather than something to judge, you'll find a new kind of bliss in your everyday life. Number 5, be peaceful, experience silence, meditate, and really listen to God. The result will be that you will find the solution to each and every one of your problems, whether it be related to relationships or finances, health or self-image, all within yourself. The peace and the quiet and the solitude all come from an understanding that God's one and only voice is silence, as Herman Melville reminded us. And if you can just be, even for one moment today, just peaceful and just go within, you're going to find a bliss that you perhaps didn't ever know before. Number 6, forgive yourself for your transgressions. See that mistakes are lessons for you to transcend. Release yourself from the tyranny of self-recrimination. Make the decision to be free. Everything that's ever happened to you in your life has happened for a reason. And when you are filled with an absence of self-forgiveness, and you're full of recriminations about what you did or shouldn't have done, or what you should have done, all of these kinds of things are really a message that you're sending to the universe saying, God's plan doesn't work and mine does. That's really an insidious thing to say. Everything that you've done or experienced is over, and you had something to learn from it. So forgive yourself and move on with your life. Number 7, write down this ancient truth and reread it on a daily basis. When you seek happiness for yourself, it will always elude you. When you seek happiness for others, you will find it yourself. Number 8, attempt to remove all enemies from your thoughts. The same intelligence that flows through you flows through all human beings. When you know that you are connected to all, you cannot fathom striking out at others, let alone feeling hatred for them. Or another way of saying this is, on a round planet, there's no choosing up sides. We all are here for a reason. We all have the same divine energy flowing through us. And when we stop thinking of ourselves as separate from everyone else, we begin to see and experience the love that we are here for in the first place. In my opinion, God doesn't want us to love God. God wants us to learn to love each other. That's what it means to be a holy being, to not have enemies and to love each other. That's truly what loving God is about. Number 9, release everything that you have been told is impossible or unrealistic, and allow yourself the freedom to make your own contract with God about what is possible for you. Examine all of the doubts that you have about miracles and miracle workers, and replace the doubt with openness. Be open and release everything that you hate.